I open the window.
Yeah, no, not so much. All right, 30 seconds.
Outside here.
Put up a little bit. Put up the.
No, 0927.
And with that, we're live. Welcome. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Thanks for joining us here at the Light 'em Up Lounge. Welcome as every week with another enlightening show, with another inspiring guest, another inspiring conversation ahead of us. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time and joining us today. We're just under a week away from the big trade show in the US. Last week, with our expert panel, we had an excellent conversation and discussion about the state of the industry, the upcoming trade show, and yeah, we're getting close towards Cigar Christmas here in July. With the trade show, we'll talk about that, but we primarily want to talk about this gentleman's history and experience in the premium cigar world, and the brands that he's representing and proudly waving the flag for. Juan Lopez, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Light 'em Up.
Thank you, brother. Happy to be here. Happy to finally actually get in touch with meet you, you guys, and get to talk to you guys, and actually be able to somewhat touch some of my extended family out there in the European market, which I dearly love, that I haven't been able to really go back since COVID hit. So I'm happy to see that I'll be able to reach through this platform, a lot of those guys and ladies that I've met throughout my journey.
Absolutely. And the wonderful thing is, we have a truly global audience. We have people joining us from all the way down in Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Europe, Africa, the US, and all the way down to South America. So it's always a pleasure to bring people together from all walks of life. And this is what Light 'em Up has always been about from day one in the early days of the pandemic. I know that you had a quite successful program with Gurkha Cigars as well, where you brought people together during those devastating times and the challenging days of the pandemic. So kudos for that. And yeah, as I said, it's all about the people, and that's what makes the industry so special. And I feel that's also what made you gravitate towards that ecosystem and towards that industry in particular. But to kick things off, Juan, tell us a little bit about your experience in the premium cigar world. There's quite a bit of it, even though you're still such a young gentleman and full of energy and youth. So tell us a little bit about your early steps and how you tell us a little bit about how you got your feet wet in the premium cigar world.
Yes. Hey, listen, it's pure luck. I was working. I took a job with a marketing firm out of college, and by chance, I get to meet, the Torano family, Carlos Torano, Charlie Torano, Seth Levine. And they offered me a job. And before that, I worked a real small time with Caribbean Cigars. Back then, it was a pretty big company during the boom when I started in '96. But literally, they went public. Everything went south because it started going down as far as the sales and the cigar industry itself. The boom peaked at '96, '97. Then it got flat. But luckily for me, I was able to land, with an incredible family, with the Toranos. I was with them for 12 years. Before they decided to sell the company or move distribution really to CAO. And then eventually I sold it to General Cigars. From there, that experience was amazing. I mean, I got to learn. I always tell people I've been lucky to work for some really great people. I learned integrity, and I learned hard work from Carlos Torano and Rocky Patel, and I learned I learned some trick of the trades as far as negotiating from Kazakh and Soria at Gurkha Cigars, and you pick up a little bit of everything from everybody, and I've been fortunate to have some pretty good guys that I've worked with, and now I'm fortunate enough to work with Jim Collucci, a legend in this industry. Reinhard taught us for 40 some odd years, and now it's going to be, I think, 50th year in the cigar industry as our president here at Gurkha, and he's done a hell of a job. So yeah, my journey started with, again, like I said, Torano, strictly sales, traveling around the country, peddling cigars, like we used to call it back in the day, and made a lot of friends. And by making friends, I just don't mean the retailers and the employees of the stores. It's just making friends that to this day, now almost 24 years in, I'll still go to events in the Pacific Northwest. I could go to Ohio. I could go Midwest. I would go to Alabama, anywhere, and I'll still run to somebody that some way, somehow got in touch with me or met me back in those early years that are still smoking cigars, still following me around. Every time I do an event, they come show up just to talk cigars, talk life, and they really become family. It's more than just a person I've met. So I've been fortunate to do that. And then about 5 years ago, I got really fortunate to be able to explore and go outside my comfortable box, which is a United States of America cigar marketplace. And then the company here allowed me to go out to Europe. Got to travel out through Europe. I got a chance to go down to South America. That was amazing. And the one thing that it all ties in together is everybody loves the common goal of the leaf, the brothership, the sisterhoodship. You could be talking to a guy that's a multi-zillionaire to a guy that's unemployed in the same couch, and they all get along great because we're all about the cigar, the conversation, and that's thoroughly what I enjoy and love and still love after 20 going on 26 years or here next year about this industry that I dearly love.
Amen to that. You mentioned the different experiences that you had with various entities and along that journey, but also in various different markets. How has that impacted and influenced your holistic view and your overall vision of the industry in general? Because you see different things with each and every company, and then you experience different kinds of cigar culture and connoisseurship, whether you're in the US, but then coming to the European market, it's a different dynamic. There might be a slightly different taste profile if you want to look at it at a more holistic level, all the way to Southeast Asia. So what were some of those little sense,
little nuances, the little nuance to me? It's like when I went to Europe, when I realized in the European market that obviously you guys, out in Europe, you're used to having, what we never got here, the forbidden fruit, the Cubans. So when I got there at first into like Germany, and I remember everybody calling our cigar New World cigars, and I'm like, New World's made by AJ, I know we're Gurkha cigars, but I realized that you guys put everything that's made out of Cuba is New World to you guys in the European market, right? I'm sure probably similar in the Asian market, in South America, more or less. But this is the way I looked at it. How could I explain it? In the European market, there was a lot of, you guys were really knowledgeable about what you liked and what you enjoyed as far as your profiles, right? So the first time I went around, it was more of a medium to full body cigar, very similar to a Cuban. Then by the second time and third time I went out there, it was more of, we want medium cigars, but with full flavor. It doesn't have to be full body. So the palate definitely grew really fast and matured really fast for our kind of cigars, which is mainly Dominican and Nicaragua, compared to what you guys have been smoking for many of years, which has been a lot of strictly Cubans or Toscanos and stuff like that. But in South America, to me, was a shock. I mean, South America, to me, I loved it because they wanted to learn, and you were there. You do these events, and these events turned out 40, 50, 60 guys, and they just ask questions, one after the other, rapid fire about everything from the glory methods to aging of the tobacco, what makes a Cellar Reserve 15 and 18 and this and that and the other. And they were hungry for knowledge, but they thoroughly enjoy cigars. And in countries like those, it's more the 1%ers, 2%ers that truly do enjoy this. Fortunately for us here and throughout Europe, we're more able, larger population is able to really sit down and enjoy the cigars on a regular basis and get to know the unans or the cigars. I think I'm sure I messed that one up, but anyway, so what I enjoy more than anything, that everybody wanted to learn, everybody was willing to listen, everybody was willing to experiment on new tobacco, something they've never tried before. Open arms the whole way, everywhere I went. And like I said, but eventually at the end of the day, what makes a great cigar is great construction, great flavor. And listen, I have a great story in when I traveled, and I'm not gonna mention the name, but I was in Switzerland in St. Gallen's, and I think young man that I was talking to, I didn't catch his name, that he's out there in Switzerland. So I go to this one store and I asked for the Juan Lopez Swiss edition cigar. And this man, the owner of the store, says, "Mr. Lopez, no problem." Brings out 10 boxes of cigars. They're 10-count boxes. And I go, Mr. Portman, that's his name, Tom Portman. I'm sure you guys know who he is. He goes, "No, Mr. Lopez, out of respect to you." He goes, "Out of respect to you, I need to feel at least 20, 30 cigars to get you 10 good ones." And I go, "If you do that in the industry, in our industry here in the U.S., you're out of business. We guarantee our product. I mean, every manufacturer guarantees the draw. 99% of the time is going to be perfect. The construction, same thing. And that's the only big difference that caught me off a little bit off guard when I traveled abroad, that I did smoke some Cubans, is the lack of really like taking care of that beautiful product that so many hands and people to the consumer and there. And it was very disappointing to see that the Cubans have gone to that, which, mind you, is good for us here in the States and in the cigar world in general, because we, at the end of the day, we're all here to smoke cigars, make money, and grow our business. But it was shocking to me that the lack of I don't want to say passion, because I think Cubans have passion for everything they do, because I'm Cuban. Disrespect to the actual product, that they'll ship stuff out like that without really testing it. It made no sense to me after being so many years in this industry. That's one of the shocking things that I found when I travel abroad about the Cuban cigars compared to our kind of cigars from Dominican and Nicaragua.
Juan, on a personal note, I mean, you have Cuban blood running through your veins as well, right? And I think you were about 4 years old or so when you came to the US. Do you still have any sentiments about that side of your family history and heritage, or would you say you are a true American and you have truly grown up with that mentality and with that lifestyle, and it's a very different vibe, right? And a very different way of going about life and thinking about things. So I'm curious, how do you see that, and how does that?
So when I got here from Cuba, I was 9 years old, so I was a little older. So I do remember some things, and I did experience some obviously. Listen, everybody tells me, how was it living in Cuba until I was 9? I tell everybody the same answer. I loved it. I enjoyed my childhood until I was 9 years old. I didn't see what I see now as you get older, the politics behind it, the fact that we had no food. Yeah, obviously we had no food, but we always found a way, or my mom always found a way to get us food. So we lived. And so that in that sense, I'm American. I'm Cuban in heart, in blood, for always. I'm Cuban first. But I live and I'm an American citizen, the best what I consider the best country in the world, in the United States of America, and I'm proud to be a proud American. But in saying so, again, when you live in Cuba, you don't think about the bad times when you're a kid. I think when you come in here as an older, maybe like you're in the late teens or 20s, you've gone through suffering. At 9 years old, what are you suffering? That you can't get a toy? Listen, if you never had a toy, guess what? You're not used to getting a toy, so it doesn't hurt you. It's that kind of mentality is a little bit different. from me to for now that I'm obviously older, and I see what's going on in the country, that people don't have enough food to eat. The electricity, they shut the electricity down 20 hours a day, and we're literally 90 miles away. The United States, 90 miles away from my homeland, and there's really nothing that we could do to help. And listen, I agree, disagree. I don't like talking politics or religion. I like talking cigars and family. But in saying so, I also believe that we have nothing to gain from Cuba by going into Cuba and starting an uproar as far as being in the United States. If you want tobacco, we go to Nicaragua, Dominican, Honduras. If we want sugar, we go to Louisiana, Jamaica, Haiti. If you want 2 million happy Cubans in Miami, then you go invade Cuba, but that's not going to happen because we have 450 million people here in population in the U.S. So we're not going to take that chance. So listen, well, like everybody always says, hey, you drink Cuba Libres, the Bacardi and Coke. And I go, us Cubans call it a little lie because we haven't been free for 65 years. So there's not such strength as Cuba Libre to us. So it's again, it's a tough subject for me to talk about because I'm planning on going back in September with my wife for the first time in 43 years. So I'm excited about that. I'm going for the weekend. Just because I got to see him, and it's I'm 52 years old now, and I really I need to go back just to see a little bit of my homeland, and I'm not just gonna go as a tourist. I'm gonna go as a Cuban. I'm gonna go into my old neighborhood, which I'm sure is torn down by now, like in really bad shape because they don't fix anything there unless you're in a tourist area. And so I'm gonna do that. We're gonna venture into that. Obviously, we'll do the touristy thing too as well, but I'm definitely gonna take the opportunity and go see my old neighborhood where I was born and I was raised at, and from to like the age of 9. And just experiment, smoke some Cuban cigars. Obviously, I got to see if it's maybe the shipping that has an issue when they ship it from Cuba to somewhere else, or are they better in Cuba? I don't know. But I'm looking forward to that. That should be a hell of an experience. But that's how I feel about it. But definitely more American than I am Cuban as far as my mindset nowadays.
When you think about those market dynamics, and in particular the challenges that Cuba and Cuban cigars have faced in terms of supply issues and all the humidors and the stocks drying out in most of the international markets, there's a void to be filled, and there's tremendous opportunity for the brands that are so strong in the United States, and at the same time over the past years had issues to supply the demand in the domestic market in the US alone, let alone venturing internationally, where you have different countries and regulations, different importers to take care of. So it's a bit of a balancing act as to in which basket do you want to put your eggs, also with a long-term perspective. How do you think about that? And what's your strategy there with Gurkha Cigars when it comes to that? Equilibrium.
Yeah, pretty much for us, the balancing act for us. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we know that 90% of our sales are U.S. I mean, it is what it is, right? Have we been growing our international sales? Without a doubt, every single year grows, a percentage or two at a time. So it's got to be a very delicate balance of making sure that we take care of the 80-20 rule per se, right, of business that have been here taking care of us and supporting us as a company for 35 years compared to a brand new market that we've been in now for 6 years. So yes, we're still feeding. We want to get the word out on our great cigars throughout the whole world. But at the end of the day, we're going to, and the beginning of the day, could be beginning or end of it, doesn't matter. We're always going to feed the U.S. market first, because this is where we need to, if we're not strong here, we won't be strong anywhere. You got to continue to be strong in your backyard before you venture out to your neighbor's yard and try to help them out, with whatever they need as far as supply and demand and whatnot. But there's definitely, like you said, a huge opportunity. We're very well represented. We're in 76 countries now, if I'm not mistaken. So everybody gets a little bit here, a little bit there. It's not on a regular basis like we do in the U.S. because, again, 80-20 rule or 90-10 in our case. We're going to continue to supply our 2,600 stores or accounts, actually, that we cater to here. And then actually the European market, as it keeps continuing to grow, the world market continues to grow. We're actually doing a big run now on tagging some of our stuff as Gurkha Worldwide, because we are a worldwide company. And it's funny because when you go into like Gurkha Nation and stuff like that, some of our pages, a lot of the guys that come into those pages are gentlemen and ladies that are from other parts of the world. So they've tried our product. If it's been either at a store, it could have been on a cruise ship somewhere on a vacation, but they tried our product. So we'll continue to move forward. Being able to produce more cigars, but we have to continue to keep the quality to where it's at. Because if the quality drops, then it makes no sense going anywhere else. So take care of your backyard first. Make sure we take care of our business here in the U.S. And then we're always gonna appreciate and try to do it as much as we can for the rest of the world. But again, if you don't have great quality here, you're not gonna have great quality abroad. Goes back to this. I mean, look at the Cubans. They're a good example. Going back to Cuba, there's some places you smoke Cuban, some are better than others. But we also know that there's a big country out there for their own, because they have the most money, and we know who they are. So it's going to suffer. So then, do you say to yourself, "Am I going to put all my eggs in one basket, like Cuba's doing right now with those people, or are you going to spread it out to those that were here before they were?" The Cubans are a dictatorship, so they just want the money up front and fast. The reason those cigars are not as great as they used to be, they don't turn the soil. They don't give the soil the nutrients that for it to be like the old Cuban cigars were. Now they're hit and miss. You might get great ones, you might get really bad ones. But from what I experienced and what I've heard from other people, you get more bad ones than you do good ones nowadays. And then they hike the price up, 100%. I mean, it's a whole the whole thing's happened here because of the whole COVID, and the supply and demand for cigars and tobacco has blown up all over the world, which, I see it already coming down a little bit here in the States, 6 months to a year. Thus, we've been able to provide a lot more product abroad. But yeah, when the last 2-3 years before this year, we couldn't get ourselves to supply our guys here. So imagine how our friends in the rest of the world felt not getting their product. So listen, we felt bad. We wanted to continue to grow with them too, but it wasn't feasible. And listen, if you try to grow too fast, you're gonna hurt yourself. You gotta stay the course. You gotta go baby steps. You gotta crawl before you walk. And that's how we think here at Gurkha.
Excellent point there. Juan, over the past couple of years, Gurkha Cigars as a company, as a brand, went through quite a bit of a makeover. There was the whole controversy a couple of years ago around Kaiser Tansotia and some of the comments that made their way to social media. And I don't necessarily want to talk all too much about that. I think it's been discussed to great length throughout the industry, and it certainly ruffled a few feathers and has, I'm sure, put you and the team and the people who are with Gurkha Cigars now into a very challenging position. How do you, in retrospect now, what were some of the critical changes when it comes to not purely that business side of things, but also I see that it had quite a bit of an impact on the structure of the portfolio. I think you've changed the dynamic of the brand quite a bit, and so in retrospect, how do you feel about those changes that happened to the brand and the company throughout the years, and compared to before that whole thing came up and bubbled up? Where do you feel you're at now as a company, and also for you as one of the leading figures for Gurkha Cigars?
I mean, listen, I went around saying the thing of, time heals all wounds, and then I realized that time doesn't heal everything. It's been 3 years now. I would say the first year and a half, 2 years were a tough go, just for the company, for the amount of brothers and sisters that I lost of the leaf. They got offended by what was said. And I did town hall meetings in Memphis, Atlanta. I went to all over the place doing town hall meetings with Black-owned companies, Black-owned cigar shops, anybody that wanted to really hear my side of the story and what we were going to do about it. So listen, we had the owner pretty much go to the side, and he hasn't been with us. But at the end of the day, he still owns 50% of the company. I mean, it is what it is. Everybody knows that. So he owns 50% of the company. He has nothing to do with the day-to-day basis now for 3.5 years. So Jim Collucci and I pretty much handle, and the rest of our team handle everything that goes on here at Gurkha. So it took us I would say a good year and a half, 2 years to try to recover some of the losses and some of the lost friendships that we had within the retail industry because of what happened. But we've been fortunate enough that they've 99% of them have come back, and listen, we've turned a corner as a company, and we continue to get better from learning from any mistakes that we've made in the past, like everybody should. But as a company itself, we keep growing our business. And yes, that hurt us a lot because we would have been a lot better off than what we are now. But you know what? With either when something bad happens, either you crawl or you grow into a ball and you fail, or you know what, you come out of it like a phoenix, you rise out of the ashes. And Ashes Cigars is a pretty good one. And I think that's what we decided to do as a company. Is like, listen, this happened. It offended a lot of people. We didn't agree with it. We did what we had to do about it. The company, again, has been run by Jim Collucci, myself, and the management team here for the last 3.5 years. And everything's, listen, it cannot get any better for us right now. We are growing in a rapid pace. And listen, do I still get a few kickbacks here and there from people that are still offended? Without a doubt. But luckily for the company, it's once every blue moon compared to like once every other day when it first happened to us, when that happened. So
thanks for sharing your perspective on this. And the other aspect that I mentioned, it feels that Gurkha has gone through a bit of a makeover in terms of the portfolio as well, and the structure of the portfolio and the cigars that you offer, and the clientele, the target audience that you're catering towards with particular lines. I think you were one of the first companies to really go into the very elaborate packaging to tackle that super premium price point, with crazy packaging cigars, crazy marketing concepts, and a crazy price point at a certain time as well. Whereas now it seems there's a little bit for everybody. There's more approachable lines. You still have very exclusive stuff, and you're always coming out with innovative new packaging. But how do you look at the overall structure of the portfolio, and how do you manage that so you have a little bit for everybody to share?
Well, it goes back to what I said when I got here to this company. The first question asked by the owner was, what do you think about my cigars and our company, the company? I go, I'm going to be frank with you. This is what I think. My personal opinion, you guys are museum pieces. You guys are a Ferrari. And he goes, what does that mean? And I go, only 1%. Museum pieces, number one, no one could really afford because they collect dust, because they're too expensive. Only the 1%ers could afford it. Same thing as a Ferrari. They don't collect dust, but only 1%ers could afford it. Why don't we make Toyotas? Why don't we make BMWs? Why don't we make some Mercedeses, where we could have at least 50% of the population that's able to enjoy our cigars at a fair price? And that's what we started with, the Cellar Reserve. And then for the Cellar Reserve, which again, when we first started with the Cellar Reserve 15 years or 13 years ago, you're talking about a retail value here in the States about $10, $11, which was reasonable. And then from there, we went to the Ghost at $8, $9. And now, and moving forward, we've been in that $8 to $10, $12 price range. And now, like everything else, as you guys know, and you've seen it in the industry, people are going into elaborate, beautiful packaging, ultra expensive cigars at what I consider ultra expensive at $30, $40 per cigar. But we're going to introduce some stuff at the show next week that you'll see. There are going to be a lot of one-offs, meaning anniversary celebrations. Especially for our beauty cigar, that was one of the first ultra expensive regular production cigars for Gurkha back 25 years ago. So we're bringing that back with an anniversary cigar that we're very excited about. I'm very proud of. We're also celebrating our 35th year in the industry again with our limited edition humidors that we came out with 4 years ago. We had our 30th, so we're excited about that. And moving down the line, we got Year of the Dragon that we're introducing at the show, but not probably shipping until end of the year, beginning of next year. That's for next year. As you guys know, we own the Dragon trademark, so we own every dragon imaginable, except for the ones that fly around in Game of Thrones. But cigar-wise, we own all the dragons. So we're excited about that. But again, like Reynold, like you were saying, we want to be able to provide a cigar for every person, every cigar smoker can enjoy. If you want a $5 cigar, I have that. You want a 10, I have that. 15, I have that. You want a $2,000 cigar and you could afford it, I have the HMR. I got the Triad. I got the Maharaja. I got all of it. But where our core business is done, it's in that $7 to $15 price range. That's what we do 80% of our business.
How do you go about it in terms of the strategy and how you build the portfolio? This is something that we often discuss here on the show with brand owners and manufacturers, and that, you know, there's different ways to go about it. Certain people will just come up with the cigar that they love because they have a certain type of tobacco that they want to use. Others might see an opportunity in the market or a bit of a trend where people gravitate towards Connecticut broadleaf for a while, and then everybody wants to have a Mexican San Andres. Which side do you gravitate? Do you rather go by concept and then you come up with a cigar to cater to a certain audience, or would you rather, you know, come from the raw material side where you see something very interesting and then you want to go with that tobacco and the rest comes later and you build around it?
Right. It's a little bit of both. It's like you said, it's a balancing act. I mean, listen, you got to go if you're in the cigar industry, in the cigar making side of the business, you're here to make money and provide a great product, right? So yeah, do you go with trends? Without a doubt. So if you know that, you know, the broadleaf selling really well, like for example, when I did the Marquesa 7 years ago, the Sumatra was starting to take off. Everybody's doing Sumatra, so I did the Sumatra, the Marquesa, did well for like 3-4 years. Then it died off because something else came into the market. San Andres and the Classic, same thing. We did great with that. Now we do okay. With another San Andres, everybody and their mother has one. So now we're getting into more like the hybrid seeds are coming in now. The Connecticut with the Habano, which is what I'm smoking here, with the Colección Especial, which is probably one of the best mild to medium cigars in the marketplace that a lot of people haven't heard about yet, but they will be hearing about it at the show. Excuse me. Because we're going to be opening it up to another 300 accounts. We only put in 150 and we sold out the first run. So this year we're going to open it up to the rest of the world and the rest of the industry. So we're happy about that. And again, concepts. If you find this beautiful wrapper, or you find a certain tobacco that you know it tastes great, and you know, like the Pure Evil, right? We had the regular Evil, the Pure Evil. We found this beautiful Ecuadorian Rosado wrapper. The original Evil was a Matafina, and it was okay. It wasn't as pretty looking. It wasn't as medium to full body. It was more to me. I wasn't a huge fan. It was more the medium rough kind of cigar. I think this one here, the Pure Evil, it's a refined, much better product. And then the concept behind that was, you know, we said, listen, you know, who's most of the cigars that we really haven't targeted yet, right? You know, the 35-year-old or 55-year-old biker. So that skull, you know, that different look. So we go, you know, we also go after, you know, certain marketplaces or market targets that we want to hit that we're not probably hitting right now. And that's an easy way to do it, is to grow your business that way with one sector of a smoker, right? So if you have the guy that likes Davidoff, that's what you're going to smoke. If you have a guy that likes something like, you know, that's aged or like a Fuente, Dominican stuff, you go to the Cellar Reserves. You got a guy that likes Liga Privada. You like a smoky cigar, go to the Ghost. So if you notice the trend there, it's just we go with trends, but you know, we try to get listen, we know who the big boys are. We're right smack in the middle. We want a slice of the pizza. We don't want the whole pizza. You know, we just want our name to be mentioned amongst the rest of the industry by providing, you know, also great cigars at a pretty, listen, I think our cigars value-wise nowadays are up there with anybody's cigar. They truly are, as far as value.
So taking a step back and talking a bit more about the manufacturing side of things, how do you ultimately come to work with certain manufacturing partners. I know that you've done a lot of stuff with Abe Flores. You have a great connection with Abdel. You work with many different factories, growers, and different raw materials. But how do you start such a venture, and how do you pick those people that you want to work with?
Well, for us, it's simple. So our model of the company is we're tobacco merchants, right? So we find great tobacco, AJ, ASP, you know who they are. The guys that have the best cigar, the best tobacco, raw tobacco, and who they're supplying it to. And most of the time, it's going to be a smaller, mid-sized factories. Cuevas, for example, in Dominican. You got in Nicaragua, ACC that makes a lot of cigars for us in Nicaragua. Now we're working with Ram Rodriguez. He's making cigars for us in DR. Very powerful factory for the size that they are. They're bigger than people think they are. Obviously, Abe Flores, our Ghost is always our top two selling cigars. So we pick our partners for us and them to grow together. So when they grow, we grow. So if they give me a great product and they're consistent of making great product for us, we'll continue to feed you another product, another project, and thus you keep growing with us, because the boat rises, you rise with it, and that's what's happened. That's why Cuevas has been with us from the beginning, 15 since I've been here, 14 years. Abe, 11 years with us since I've been here. Ram just started with us 3 years ago. He's doing a hell of a job with us with the Revenant and some of the other stuff that he's making for us. And like that, we found a small little that came to me at the booth last year at the show, and I like the business. I like the way he sorted tobacco. I like where he bought from. I liked the fact that he weighed all his cigars, which is not normal anymore. Now is more draw testing. He does both, and I gave him a first order and a first project with the Grand H2, and that's done well for us. We sold the first 100,000 cigars in less than 5 months on a value product in that $6.57 price range. So we're always looking for new partners, but when it comes to like some of the bigger stuff, like again, the Year of the Dragon, the Beauty 25th, we're gonna stick to our core guys, the Floreses, the Cuevases, the Rodriguezes. Those guys are the ones that we try to stay, because that's where you find consistency in your product, and in this industry, that's key. If you're not consistent, you'll be out of business. So that's our model.
With everything that happened recently, with the incredible surge in demand in the United States, the challenges in terms of supply chain that we experienced throughout the pandemic, where do you feel we're at as an industry in terms of the current market dynamics, supply and demand? We know there's been a big brain drain from the manufacturing countries, with a lot of people trying to get out of there and make their way to the US. So what do you hear from the manufacturing partners, and what do you see both in terms of
listen, all I can tell you on my end, what I've seen is a lot of price increases from our partners, manufacturers. A lot of, hey, listen, I don't have enough of this, enough of that. But the only way to combat stuff like that is very simple, and that's one thing that I learned actually from Jim. Jim is very aggressive. Jim's the kind of guy that he'll say, you know what, if you have enough tobacco to make 1 million cigars, I'll take them all right now, instead of doing it in piecemeal. That's a smart man. Now, if you look at our warehouse right now, it's as ready as we've been in supply probably since I've been here. So we're fully stacked and we're fully loaded on everything that sells, all the cellar reserves, most of the ghosts. So the rest is coming in next week. Some of the new stuff, our infused product, the Grand Reserves, the cognac, the bourbon, the rum, all that stuff it's fully stocked because we're ready for the show. So his mindset is, if you don't have it, we can't sell it. So before guys are going to I don't have enough tobacco, it's getting expensive. He goes, okay, here's money, let's go buy tobacco, but I'll take the first 1 million cigars you're gonna make of our product to ensure that we have product. You know what I'm saying? So instead of crying back and forth, yes, they hiked the price a little bit. We increased our price by 3%, 5%. First time in 5 years we ever done that. That's very, very fair. I've seen some other companies do crazy amount of 10, 15 points. We did 5. And the first time again we do it, and we didn't do it in the full portfolio. It was mainly on some of the Like the Ghost, we had to put up a little bit just because it got really expensive to get the Aripiraca from Brazil. So that we have to put up 5 points. But other than that, everything's pretty much stay the same. We just, again, we double down on the fact that, this might be coming. Either you have an excuse or you're prepared. And we're, thank goodness, by the leadership of Jim, we're prepared, and we're doing fantastic. But I think, again, it's not going to level off. Listen, it's just like when the whole pandemic thing with the containers. I remember containers from China used to be $6,000. It got up to $36,000. Now they're back down. Now they're like a 9,000. I'll never go back to 6,000. We're never going to get a pound of Habano for $25. If you want good stuff, it's going to be 35. That's never going to go down again. Once they raise the prices, they raise your taxes. Guess what, my friend? It's going to stay right there. It's not going to get any lower than you had it before. They're going to bring it down so you feel like it's like the gas. Oh, the gas at 350 is not that bad. Yeah, but it was 195 3 years ago. It's everything else. It's all in cycles. I'm just happy that we were able and we had the funds to be prepared to be able to really double down on having inventory on what sells. Because if you don't have it, you can't sell it.
Amen. Macy, welcome. Chime in, my fellow.
Hey, good afternoon. Or I guess good evening.
Macy, how you doing? How are you?
Mr. Lopez, mucho gusto. Placer.
What's going on with Arizona State in the background? Your Sun Devil?
Sadly, sir, you don't ask me, but I am Sun Devil. Sadly, Ole Miss Law School. I'm sitting here in Mississippi, but to quote Jerry Maguire, I'm a Sun Devil, Jerry. You're in Arizona, now you want Arizona dollars. That's where show me the money comes from.
There you go, bro. That's awesome.
Anyway, and before and I hope this isn't the new controversy. I have read that Gurkha holds, and you may not want to answer this, but Gurkha holds a very special historical distinction that only it can hold. Only it holds that it was the cigar that was involved in the impeachment of Bill Clinton. I won't go any more into that. But do you know, or can you confirm, has your company learned that is absolutely Politico reported that?
We've heard about this. We've heard about the story. We haven't really ran with it because we haven't ran with it.
No, I would. I can't believe you're sitting on that, but
no. We heard it to the grapevine. We heard it to the grapevine, but I wasn't there. So since I wasn't there, I cannot confirm. But yes, it's been said. It's been said because the truth to be told, Bill Clinton does not smoke cigars. He chews on them. So that much I know. So are you gonna chew a regular cigar, or are you gonna chew an infused on top of an infused cigar? I'm just saying.
Well, that might be the acid infusion process. We might have solved the mystery.
You're giving the secrets away. Jonathan Drew's attorney will be in the.
Yeah, that's the last thing I need to know. I'm a
good.
lawyer. Being last. Let's not even go. Well, I appreciate your good humor on that, but I found that, and it shows. Look, Bill Clinton. I say this: when the president, he could have any cigar in the world, including Cubans. We all know that. He chose your cigar. That says something. But
okay, but it says that you can do whatever he wants with it, put it back in the tube, and keep it for keepsake. That's a good thing. You got to look at it both sides.
Well, it might be the Smithsonian, and I heard it was a Churchill, but we don't need to go any deeper in that one.
Well, listen. We make Churchill, Torpedo, and Coronas. So I'm just saying.
Oh man,
could be right.
Okay, so my real question.
Huh?
I hope this isn't more controversial than the first one. On this show, we talk a lot. We've got kind of recurring themes and topics. And one topic we discuss often and that is important to me is kind of online. Well, they call it online versus brick and mortar. I think I don't know why you got to use the word versus. That's not my using it, but whatever. I am an online, I'm actually looking at a box that I got from an online merchant I love that your company sells a lot on. We often don't name names. It rhymes with Regar Rage, but I love it. I have found online, I mean, Mirafel, I would not have any Mirafel cigars but for online merchants, for example. You know, I think my view on that's they're unfairly maligned. And this is my comment, only speaking for me. For the love of God, I only speak for me. I think like there's a show, the Cigar Authority, Dave Garofalo, obviously who owns shows. I'll say he is just I love Dave. I think he's an American hero. Dave, if you're out there, I love you. But I think he and many brick and mortar folks unfairly malign, not all, but some unfairly malign online. They claim you're slitting your own throat. It's going to be the death of the industry. I mean, these are actually terms they use. And like, we won't have new brands and I just think that's preposterous because like where I found the Mirafel, that's a website that's dedicated to kind of boutique, smaller. I mean, this idea that like brick and mortar, you can do something online. And I like brick and mortar when I'm there and every place I don't know, would you come? Because obviously you sell online and
Yep.
I mean, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on whether it hurts the industry and kind of.
Listen, a pleasure to a great question. Listen, man, I was born in this industry on brick and mortar. When I started doing this, there was no brick and mortar. There was no online industry whatsoever. It was mainly Thompson catalog and JR catalog, and that was pretty much it. Then it became Cigar International, Cigar Page, and the rest. In saying so, is it going to kill the brick and mortar business? I will put it to you this way: as a brick and mortar guy that I am, that I support brick and it won't, because if you're able to control what the catalog companies are selling your product for, so if you have a contract with them, the contract is, listen, you could sell, my portfolio is 50 products deep, right? 50 different brands deep. I'm going to let you sell within reason 25 products of my portfolio at a discounted price of 20%, let's say 25%. Now, in fact, the brick and mortar brands that are only sold in brick and mortar that you also get, because guess what? You have brick and mortar stores. So it's illegal for me not to really sell them to you. Now, Cigar Page is a little bit different, but you got Cigar International has stores. You got, Casa Monte Cristo. All those guys have stores, right? So if they respect that side of the equation, meaning if they stay within, the 10-15% discount on the brick and mortar products, everybody will be happy. I agree with what Dave says. It's not going to kill it. It hurts him a lot because if there was no catalogs or online kind of presence, the brick and mortar stores would be very, very, very well off. But Dave also knows that he sells his cigars on his own page that he has, that he'll have his own brands that he discounts. So it's a double-edged sword. Not every company needs them. Like you said, a lot of the smaller boutiques do it because it's a cash flow issue. Those guys, you sell them $1 million, you get $1 million in the bank in 5 days. In the brick and mortar, you sell them $1 million, it takes you 35 days, 45 days, some guys 60 days to get paid. So it becomes a cash flow issue. But again, going back to what I said, if you have the opportunity, you should support both. Find that one box you can't find in the brick and mortar store. You can find them online, so be it. But always support your brick and mortar, because that is what made America and the world of cigars, is going into the shop, providing a service, touching a cigar, looking at a cigar, knowing that it's perfectly humidified, providing a great service. And then, you never know, you might meet a few great people at the lounge where you're sitting there shooting the shit, and the rest is history.
Let me just say, when I do that and I tip when I'm there, but I resent the accusation that a consumer buying online is somehow killing or hurting the industry. I just think that is over the top, and that's something someone who has skin in the game and owns brick and mortar says. So he's just, anyway, thank you.
Yeah, he's bitter. He's a bitter old man. Nah, Dave's a good friend of mine. He's good. Now, he's good people, but you have to remember his side of the equation, that he does have, very successful stores. that have been there for a very long time. And listen, operating dollars are still operating dollars. You know, you got guys that go in there, buy one cigar for $10. He makes $4 on it, and they'll sit there all day long using his Wi-Fi, his air conditioning, bothering the staff. So I understand his side of the story. It won't kill it, but if we didn't have the online stuff, the brick and mortars would be very, very happy, and so will I, because I'm a big brick and mortar supporter. So fair enough. All right, my guy.
And if I may add to that, I think one critical component is that nowadays dedicated cigar enthusiasts always look for an experience, and for the longest time, the brick and mortar was where the truly meaningful and memorable experience was to be had. You go there, you have knowledgeable staff, you go with their recommendation, you spend quality time with the people, you sit down, you have a cigar, you have a great chat, and those highly trained people will provide you the opportunity to grow as a cigar enthusiast, to discover new things, and to have that truly memorable experience that we all love and share. And nowadays, there's plenty of opportunities through the means of online, social media, and plenty of the new stuff that's coming, like everything that's happening with AI. There's new opportunities to also create meaningful experiences in a digitalized online world. And I think, I firmly believe that nowadays the most successful entrepreneurs and businesses firmly sit at the amalgamation and the confluence of the analog and the digital experience. And if you can provide that in a meaningful way to the people, then you're in for the long time. And so, yeah,
I agree on that. And as you know, most of the big guys here in the US, that's what they do. I mean, you got the Coronas, you got the Smoke-ins, just to name a few, that they do have beautiful stores, great staff, knowledgeable people, and then they have great staff and knowledgeable people online too, taking care of the online business. But where it separates some of those guys compared to what he's mentioning about some of the other just strictly online guys is the fact that they do have skin in the game in the brick and mortar stores. That's a different animal altogether from someone that truly doesn't have skin in the game as a brick and mortar. You're just trying to take their money or their client at giving them a better price point, but not providing, like you said, the experience.
Absolutely. Over to Oleg. Good to see you, my man. Hope you're doing well, and I hope that you're safe out there, and it's good to see you as always.
Hey, my dear friend Reinhard. Finally, I find an opportunity to find some little lounge called Vienna Cafe.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, we have one in Ukraine, in Dnipro, on the border of the nowhere. We still have a lot of missiles and kamikaze drones almost every night, but we still survive. We are strong men with the cigars, with enough quantity of whiskey, so we will survive anyway, my friend. I'm really glad to see Juan and really love Gurkha Cigars. We sent huge quantity of Gurkha t-shirts with Pure Evil, with amazing slogan, Juan, about there is only one bastard in this desert. No one will kill us except us. And our soldiers really glad to wear these shirts. And also I sent them Pure Evil cigars, and even Evil cigars, and some of amazing 30th anniversary. For now, I have one box of 13-year Chairman Reserve and 15 years old, and really amazing. But really, one I can tell you, I'm really appreciate that for now, the quality of the Gurkha is rising, because for at least 5 years, maybe decade, it was awful. You can buy the box of even 21 years old, and the beauty, and it was really like a crap. Maybe you explained why this happened. But now I actually was really enjoyed with the some cigars actually combined with the North leaf, Saint Michael.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know these
San
cigars.
Miguel, the 30.
San Miguel cigars. Yes,
Mhm.
really. I'm fond of everything what Aganorsa have, and they was, and it's really amazing. Unfortunately, for today, we have some celebration of our we have a Constitution Day for now, in Ukraine, and I take allegedly some ground only for U.S. market, and really one of my favorite cigar. But I'm really fond of Gurkha Cigars as well. But I'm really enjoying this evening, and finally I have an opportunity to be online with you all, my guys, and on. Thank you so much. I can talk too much, but but you need to talk more this evening.
Oleg, first and foremost, man, thank you for your continued support of the brand. Thank you for the plug. We appreciate it. And most importantly, man, make sure you take care of yourself, your family. And this too shall pass, man. You know, great times are ahead for the Ukrainian people. I truly believe that. And we're a brotherhood here, man. We want freedom. We want to extend our prayers to you and all your countrymen and women, and all the best. And we'll continue to any way we can to support you guys. And it's great to see someone take some time off, this crisis that you're having in your beautiful country, to take time and converse with us. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Anyway, you can support me, our soldiers. I always connected with them in Bakhmut and any hotspots through the Klaus Klein Lager. He sent me a lot Gurkhas and t-shirts.
Okay, I'll see Klaus. I'll see Klaus in at PCA, if I'm not mistaken. If not, I'll make sure I'll talk to my marketing director to make sure we get you guys some more stuff out. We'll take care of it
we are have a very strong connection with the Safety Home Ukraine. Also, Klaus helped them, and I'll meet Marie very soon, and she'll bring me some stuff for our soldiers, and I hope some Gurkhas as well. And please make connection with them. Yes,
point to get you some stuff. We'll make it a point to guarantee you we're going to get something to you. I promise.
Super, my dear friend. So keep in touch, but I'm not to tell you goodbye. I'm just online and to take opportunity to others to ask you some questions.
Awesome. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Oleg, it's good to see you, my man. And
this is what I'm talking about. This is what I love about our industry.
Amen.
Amazing.
And that's what this is all about, people coming together and people sharing values and beliefs, and we're all connected through the humble cigar, and that's something that always keeps amazing me.
We are the big cigar family, and will be.
Amen. Speaking
Amen
of
to that.
family, and speaking of people joining us from all over the world, Dejan coming to us from hopefully warm and somewhat sunny Vienna. Good to see you, buddy.
Exactly, Reinhard. Thank you. Yes, I sit on my terrace in Vienna. It's nice and warm, really pleasant. I have one question for you, Juan, that I usually ask the guests here who have like a lot of touch with their selling the cigars and so on. Have you ever had any kind of issues with anybody counterfeiting Gurkha cigars?
We had an issue one time. Man, it's been a while on the beauty, the original beauty. Somebody found a way to get like the second, because it had a regular band on it, a legend band, then had a secondary band that said beauty on it. And then we had to start putting numbers in the back of the band for like about a 2 years time. But we found out that people were copying the secondary band, but that we nipped that in the butt right away. And I mean, it wasn't a big number of contraband. I know like the one that got hit the biggest was Padron, because they now number every single one of their bands, because they got hit big here in the States. Somebody copying their brand by the hundreds of thousands of cigars. Yeah, that was bad. We didn't get to that number, but it happens. But, you know, we try. Our bands are so hard to make and to copy because it's so ornate, everything that we do. If you look at our bands, we choose the best, you know, band makers to make it for us. And to really copy that band that we have is hard to do. So we haven't had a lot of issues, but we did have one a long time ago.
Okay, thanks.
All right, my brother.
Juan, you often use the word business, and I know that you're an incredible salesperson. It seems to come very naturally to you. You're an avid communicator. You're very open. You're very sociable. I know you love your good drinks. You love to be around people. What, in your opinion, makes a great salesperson, and what are some of the attributes that you're looking for in the people that work for you, the people that work with you, where you know they have the potential to become a great salesperson in the cigar industry?
Yeah, I have a few little things that I say. So one of the things that I would say is love what you do and who you do it for, or who you do it with. The other one that tell all the reps, I had an article written on me in tobacco business. They quoted me on some sales stuff, and it's simple. In the cigar business is get up, show up, ask for the sale, and always follow up. Because in our business, if you in any business sales, you don't follow up, you're not gonna be able to get a sale. And if you don't ask for the sale, you're definitely not getting a sale. And if you don't get up, you're definitely not gonna show up. So it all ties in together. I think it's also the under promise, over deliver. Don't over promise, and then you're not able to deliver. I think more than anything for me, what's made me successful in sales has always been, you know, I always wanted to be the best at what I do. I tell I have 3 daughters, so I have a granddaughter, and I tell them, you know what, when you get up, be the best at what you do. You know, why not? If you're not the best at what you do, then don't do it. Be the best at what you do. Because if you keep reaching higher and higher, you're gonna get there eventually. But you need to stay the course. You need to stay focused. And then listen, it's easy to hit a wall every now and then, and you do. And people, if you go around a wall, is a thing. If you go over the wall, is another thing. If you go through a wall, is one thing. But if you you look at the wall, analyze why you hit the wall, and realize in your head, I'm not gonna do this again. You find a way to climb the wall, right? So again, it's just a mindset. You have to have a certain mindset. And I drive that to my team, because again, like you said, they don't work for me; they work with me, and we work for one common goal: is to be successful and provide a great service and a great cigar to our consumers.
Amen to that. Great points. Thanks for sharing. One thing that I also want to talk about is Sindicato Cigars, another project that you're heavily involved with. Talk a little bit about that and what people can expect from Sindicato in the future.
And Sindicato, you know, what's up about Sindicato, man. Sindicato, the people that we work with on Sindicato, the factories that we work with. I mean, you're talking about Arganosa. You're talking about, you know, some stuff with Ram. You know, Naxa, you know, we work with some really good companies that make that cigar. I just think that what's happened with Sindicato, my personal opinion, I told this to the president, he's also the president of Sindicato, obviously, is there's real no face behind it. There's no one really driving the brand on a regular basis. My team and I, we try to push it as much as we possibly can. But as you know, there's so many small boutiques that size in the industry right now that do have a face, a Fratello, a Rainier with HVC, Guys like that, Espinosa, that's now growing leap and bounds. You got a lot of guys that have a small boutique brand, but they have a face, they have the personality behind it. And it's tough to really create a brand if you don't have a face or a personality behind it to put it together with. I mean, when you say Sindicato, you don't think of Juan Lopez, you don't think of Jim Collucci, you think of some pretty good blends on the Particulares, on the Cubico. We have some great blends, but when there's no one really there talking about it on a regular basis or a face behind it, it's gonna stay dormant. It's not gonna sell as well as we could. Listen, it grows at 2-3% every year. We don't focus a lot on it because again, we don't have a face behind it, and we have a really large portfolio at Gurkha, as you know, that we need to get that established where we need it to be for us to really focus on the Sindicato side. But again, the people that do well with the Sindicato love it. The people that don't want to try it is the same excuse always is on point. Is one, once you leave or your rep leaves, who's Sindicato? Because when we say Gurkha, they go, yeah, we know Gurkha, we know Steve Cook, we know Armando, we know Juan Lopez, we know those guys. Those are the Gurkha guys. But is there a Sindicato guy? Yeah, we distribute Sindicato, but there's no face or anyone really behind the brands. So I think that's what holds it back a little bit. But I mean, listen, we're still in 300-400 stores that carry it. Some do better than others, but that's not our main focus per se. In the long-term goal of Gurkha Cigars.
Well noted. We briefly touched upon this throughout the show, and you shared a little bit about your perspective on the market dynamics. That little plateau the U.S. market have seemed to have hit over the past few months. What's your perspective and what's your expectations for the upcoming trade show and the rest of 2023?
I mean, I know for a fact, because I'm that's one thing I do. I get up every morning, I read up on my industry, right, on everything, and I try to be in the know. I know that there's a lot of companies celebrating a lot of anniversaries this year. You got a lot of the smaller guys turning 10. You got the Perdomos, turning 30. We're turning 35. Some guys are coming in. Nestor Miranda, you heard, is coming out with the 80th birthday cigar made by Pepin. Pepin's coming out with a cigar for I think his 20th in the business, or 15th, whatever it may be. So there's going to be a lot of anniversary cigars. There's going to be a lot of great cigars out there. And again, a lot of limited edition. So I think that's a trend moving forward. A lot of people are noticing that's in a way in the last 4, 5, 6 years is what made Davidoff a little more successful. For just a regular Davidoff lines, it's been on a quarterly basis. They come out with a limited, and people go look for it, right? So I think we've caught on to that. It's taken us a little time to catch on to that, but you're going to see, at least on our end, and I think in the industry in general, a lot of one-offs. A lot of 1,000 boxes, 500 boxes, collectors kind of stuff. I think you're going to see a lot of that, and I think that again, it's leveling off, but people are going to smoke. People buy from people. If out of sight, out of mind. If you're representative, myself, we're not there doing promotions, educating the consumer, educating the manager, educating the owner of the store on our product. When we leave the store, the cigar is not going to sell itself unless you educate them. I take this quote from Rocky Patel many years ago when I worked for Rocky. I go, Rock, why do you spend so many millions of dollars in advertising? And he goes, because I want people coming into the store asking for my cigar because they see it in every publication. Because when I leave, or my brother, or my cousin leave, or the reps leave, they're not going to remember. But if there's a publication, I'm getting high ratings, they see it all the time. That's my money that I'm spending for them to come in and ask for it at the store level. Because if you ask for a store level, 90% of the time, either A, they'll have it, or they'll bring it in, or they'll delete you to something within the line of Rocky or any other brand is gonna probably match your palate or what you're looking for on a Rocky Patel Gurkha cigar, so on and so on.
That's a very, very interesting point that you bring up, and I want to briefly piggyback on that a little bit. The cigar industry obviously has limited means of getting the word out and sharing information about the brand, about certain blends and the product in general. Social media has drastically shifted that whole game and opened up new channels, but especially for a company your size, where do you feel you really want to double and triple down on in order to get in front of people's face and in order to reach the consumer in a meaningful way?
I'm a true believer, and if we were a little bit bigger, We're almost there. We're almost there. We're turning the corner. We're a little bit bigger. I think it's a full circle marketing is the way to do it. It's the only way to do it, which is you got to still do a little bit of print. You got to be definitely focused on the social media side, and you got to do the in-store events. In-store events drives people. In-store event builds relationships. I mean, I have some representatives in my team that have people follow them to every event they do within their territory. So they're literally guaranteed 15, 20, 30 guys being in these events that are buying boxes automatically every time they do an event within a territory. So I think that's, if to do it the right way, you need social media, you need some print, you need all that swag, you need the backpacks, you need the travel humidors, you need the knives, you need, you know how, what we do here. Obviously, you've seen what Drew Estate's doing now for the last 3 years, which is out swagging everybody because, you know, they got the Swisher on their side, and and that matters. But I think it's a full circle. Advertising in any industry, not just cigars, you got to do full circle. Print's getting a lot smaller, but it still matters, especially for that, you know, 1 or 2 times a year when they come out with a cigar of the year, the best bargain cigar. People look at that still. They might look at it for a month, they might look at it for 2 months, but they still look at it. And when you do your homework in the marketing side, it's that month of attention does create sales, and it creates a little bit of a buzz. So you need to do a little bit of everything to really be successful, I feel. And it takes a lot of money. It really does.
And a lot of time and hard effort.
And manpower, absolutely. Yep.
If Juan Lopez could dream up a perfect in-store event and a great cigar experience for people to truly remember, what would that look like?
Oh, well, I would definitely have Johnny Walker, the beautiful Johnny Walker pouring some blue. I would have Ruth Steakhouse providing sliders or Morton's running sliders for everyone. I would definitely have a magician there to entertain some people. And then I'll have great cigars, great giveaways, and something really special for that consumer to go away and say, you know what a great event, what a great guy, what a great team of people I just met. And they walk with something beautiful away that says, you know what, and I'll never forget this event, not just for the experience, for something they take home with them. I think that's a big deal to me. I know, like when I go to do events, I try to make everybody a winner. When we do raffles, even if I have to go to my car and grab, I mean, listen, I did an event in Tacoma. Quick story. I wanted to hit 100 boxes sold in one event. That's a lot of cigars. That's a lot of boxes. I was at 85 boxes. I needed 50 more boxes. I called my then girlfriend, now wife, and I had a big Gurkha limited edition green humidor with 100 Lanceros of Ghost, 125th, and 15 year that we don't make. They only make them for me at the factory. So I go on FaceTime with her, Bianca. You know Bianca. You talked to Bianca. I go on FaceTime with her and I go, hey, I'm gonna FaceTime you. Let's show the humidor. Let's show the cigars. And so I get up and I showed everybody, blah blah blah, and I go, I need 50 more boxes. There's about 40 guys left here. Make a line, one box per guy. We ended up selling 115 boxes. So I sold 25 boxes, and some guy wanted it. He got it the next week. So like stuff like that, I'll go above and beyond and do to hit a record. Or this guy will never forget. I see him. I saw him like 2 weeks ago. Hey, Wani, by the way, I need a refill on some Lanceros. I go, it doesn't work that way, my friend. Yeah. But you did win it, so he remembers. So that for me will be the what I would love to do at an event. But again, it's very costly. I mean, I'm talking some high-end stuff in there, and but that would be ideal for me. It's that, and for everybody to have a great time, man. Just have fun, mingle, dance, shoot the shit. I'm that guy, man. I'm a night owl. I stay up to 3 a.m. It don't matter. I get up the next day and do it again, and it hurts a lot more than it did when I was 30, but it's okay.
I love that one, and I think we've got everybody salivating now, with the Johnny Blue and those lovely sliders. So I hope everybody's is tonight with a great little dinner, a great cigar, and a great drink.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I greatly appreciate it. Well, many thanks, Juan, and it was a pleasure to have you and to chat with you. I wish you personally all the very best, and continue sharing the positive vibes and the great energy, because I think that that's very important, and especially with some of the more challenging experiences that you had to go through and that the brand had to go through. Your positivity and your energy is reassuring, and is much needed, and a breath of fresh air for the industry. So that's wonderful to hear.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on, man. I've been looking forward to this. Look forward to seeing you next week. If you're going to be there.
Yes.
So I'm definitely going to, at least one Johnny Walker Blue, I'll pay. I'll get you a great cigar as well. And again, man, because of, people like yourself and this format, it truly does help us as manufacturers of this incredible product that we call cigars. Get our point across out there. Get to really meet people that we never meet on a regular basis, but now we've met, and now we have something in common, which is the love of the leaf. So thank you for that, and I truly appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much.
Likewise, many thanks. Juan Lopez from Gurkha Cigars, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we're just 2 days before the trade show, but we'll have a great chat with Mo Mali from Patina Cigars, leading up to the trade show. Just before I jump on a plane to the US to come and see you, Juan, and see all of our dear friends and family. So please join us again next week together with Mo. Until then, be safe, be well, light up some fabulous cigars, and thanks everybody for joining us today. It was a pleasure as always. Juan, thanks again. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All right.